And the first item of business is accentuate the positive.
Yeah. Now is it on? No.
Erica?
Now is it on?
You have to sing a song in order for it to turn on.
No.
Okay.
So tells you long about person. Song report. Testing. Yeah.
Option B.
That's on.
Where's that?
So probably, tell someone to pick a slow.
Yeah. I don't know till she feels.
Well, someone said sing
These are
song.
kind of
Working.
You might just have to speak a little louder into it.
Now can you hear me? Or is that just mine?
Are you getting levels on the recording?
Yeah.
As long as we're getting-
Nancy, if she can hear, or whoever else is on.
Yeah, as long as we're
I
getting.
can hear you.
Caitlin.
I can hear you all. I just have myself on mute.
Okay, as long as we're getting levels there, we're good, because we can hear you in the room.
Okay, perfect.
Go for it. All right.
Good evening, board. Kaylin Cross, proud principal of the Pirate Ship. Thanks for coming tonight to our beautiful facility. We just have a few things we're really excited about. It's Classified Staff Appreciation Week. And each day we've been able to honor our wonderful staff with just a little bit of appreciation. We've had lunches, our leadership is downstairs right now, setting some things up, but I know our student reps are gonna talk more about that. But we're just really thankful for the work that our classified staff do every day. And a week to show our appreciation really isn't enough, but I'm glad to have it. Wanted to let you know that our school spirit is very high right now. Our student reps are also gonna talk about this, but really would like to invite you to the basketball game on Saturday. It's gonna be a great time, and tomorrow we also have a basketball game. Our girls are on the road, so hopefully you can come cheer them on. We're boarding buses between third and fourth period. I will email you that exact time because we'd like to come cheer on our girls basketball team. We had a BSU cookout last week after the Black Youth Leadership Summit. Our BSU group invited all other regional BSUs to attend a cookout to celebrate Black History Month. It was very well attended, and kids and staff just had great things to say about the community that is created there. So we want to shout out to Tyreek Moore, who is our BSU coordinator. He's a wonderful young man, and we're so happy to have him on our campus. We had our Pirates to Raiders program kick off this month. We have a new coordinator. We work with SOU to have that program, and our new coordinator is Jasmine Casares, and she's doing a great job even already of building community for our students. We want to shout out to our counseling crew. We heard a little bit about this last meeting, but we have been working really hard with hatching results to create a comprehensive school counseling program. So Tammy Ingwerson, Michelle Carlson, Jordan Ruiz, and Angelica Mendoza are just amazing school counselors that support our students every day. And we're just thankful for the work that they've been doing. We got to roll out the news of our new college and career and financial literacy credits that are required for this year's juniors. We're going to start that next year, their senior year. They're very excited to pay attention to and learn a little bit about what exists for them outside of high school. So college and career planning, and also that financial literacy that people have been excited to learn about. So we're excited about that. And last but not least, we have been doing our OSAS testing, or state testing. We finished up science about a week ago, and that was wonderful. And we started our English language arts testing this week. Our teachers have been prepping for that, I mean, for a really long time, but especially the last month, and feel confident about our students just showing off what great things they've been learning and showing off just how much they know. And so we want to shout out to those teachers. And also there's a lot of this behind the scenes work that makes that happen. So Alyssa Barber, Guillermina Hernandez, Maggie Taylor Cheek, and Brittany Potts have been instrumental in making sure that has gone smooth. So thanks to them. And that's all from the Pirate Ship.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary School. I just have two short announcements. The first, I want to echo what Kaylin said about Classified Appreciation Weeks. Yesterday, we had our staff meeting, and I opened it up with, we appreciate our classified staff because, and then we just shared that out with each other. And it just was really awesome to hear all of the comments that people felt about our classified staff. And what was cool is that I noticed that everything that they shared was student centric. And I pointed that out to them, and we just, you know, there's such a team feeling here at PDS. And one staff member who's she's worked at another school in our district, but she's also worked for other districts. She shared that at our district, she said classified staff are very valued for who they are and the role they play. And that in other districts, she felt less than, but she's never felt that since working in our district. So I thought that was really good to share. So I just want to give a shout out to our office staff, our custodians, our instructional aides, our sped support, our behavior specialists, our media managers, our custodians. We couldn't run schools without them. So just big shout out to them. The next thing I want to share is that we had our OBOC competition last week. We had 22 students on 7 teams participate and battle it out. The name is the Minions of King Bob. The name of the group that won. They're a bunch of 4th graders or 4th graders. They did a fantastic job. At our Friday assembly, we were able to showcase a mini battle for our entire school to get our K through 2 students excited and understanding what OBOB is all about. So I really want to give a big shout out to our club advisor, Zoe Boyles. And then we had a ton of support with Elia Gima, Estrella Medrano, Amy Hartley, Anna Leva, and then during the battles, Christy Dixon and Corinne Calhoun. So it's a big team effort to make that worthwhile for our students. And so I want to say congratulations to our participants and our staff to support that.
Good evening, everybody. Heather Lowe over at Cullen Elementary. Same season ditto, per usual. Just want to echo what these 2 said about our classified staff. They're amazing. And I especially lean heavily upon our office staff as, you know, the only one up there, the only admin, and not a lot of support. So what Cheryl and Alma and Kim do to support kind of the business runnings for us principals at elementary is just remarkable. And we certainly would not survive without them. So I want to call them out specifically. I also want to share that next week we have our district math night here at Phoenix High School, 5:30 to 7. It's really fun, and just a lot of gratitude to Tiffany and Charlene, who are really orchestrating all of that for the district. It should be fun. And then this is kind of awkward because Mark's right there, but tomorrow we're having our PTA is hosting a family dance night. And I was gonna sing your praises, so that feels weird. Yeah, you should. Mark is also our PTA president and has been serving in that role for 3 years.
Oh, nice.
Thankfully. Really getting the PTA back on the ground and a really energized group of folks right now. So thank you, Mark. Glad you're here, actually. Steve, as you know. But yeah, it should be fun at 6 to 8 if you want to boogie. And then last but not least, we're in the middle of our checkers tournament.
Oh.
So when we get back from break, I'll be able to tell you who the next reigning checkers champion is at TES. As you know, that's a big tradition and a lot of things to Sam Glickle. And then there's a lot of people behind the scenes really volunteering to supervise those. So things are going really well.
You remember who the former champ was?
So I do know the former champ, last name Schleif.
The 5th grade champ right now.
It's pretty shameless. Mayor Santi for Kingstown Rising Academy. Just for those of you guys who are newer, that TES checker tournament goes back to the 90s, so it's been going on for 30+ years. So pretty exciting. I want to celebrate one classified employee. So I'm going to call her out by name. That's Danny Goodwin, and Danny is a dynamo. She's our office manager, our registrar, our instructional assistant, our playground supervisor, and also just generally runs the show. So like Shauna said and Heather said, we could not run schools without these folks. And so really want to appreciate her. And then finally, on the district side, we'll be convening our biannual strategic planning committee next week. That's pulling together folks from the community, students, parents, and others. Try to chart the course for the next 2 years. It's part of our planning for our integrated programs application, which, as you guys know, is where we get a good chunk of our funding, including our SIA, our high school success, and many other grants. And so looking forward to where that goes and working with the rest of the community.
Good evening, everyone. Kent Blair, principal at Orchard Hill. Shauna, how many kids did you have in OBOB?
22.
Orchard Hill had 23 kids. But we had a nice. a tangible example of excellent classified staff. Katie McCormick and Holly Swift are classified staff, and they facilitated Orchard Hills, Oregon Valley Football. And without those two and their willingness to, you know, facilitate everything, that event wouldn't happen. But again, Orchard Hill 2 had a 4th grade champion, the Penguins is their name, that they're moving on to the regionals. And I want to highlight Katie and Holly for their efforts, and also all those kids came from Jenny Weaver's 4th grade class. It's a really good class, and those kids work hard, so I wanted to thank her as well. Today at Orchard Hill, we had our first of the 2 required lockdown secure drills. And every time I have a chance to work with Sergeant Paul Lehman and Officer Ashworth from the Medford PD, it is just an honor. And those guys do such a good job to keep our building safe, the kids safe, and our staff members safe. It went very well. We discovered a few things like doors that might not totally latch. You know, those are good things to know, and that's why we do the drills. Also excited about Family Math Night coming up next week. Orchard Hill's going to try, when we're at high school in the spring, there was always like a boot camp, a boot camp for seniors who just needed to get a little more stuff done to get their credit in econ or something. So we're going to try that model a little bit, do some after school math support for some 4th graders. We look carefully at their iReady math diagnostics, and we've got about 17 kids that we think could just a little more help after school. It might put them over the top on the SBAC test. So I'll meet with the parents next Wednesday night here at high school to kind of prep them for that. That's all for Orchard Hill. Casey.
Yes. I need to stand by Ken, helps me. It's no difference what how middle school. I mean, my main thing I wanted to shout out was just our classified staff as well. Starting with the front office staff, I mean, they're the first people who our families, community see when they walk through the door, and so the role that they play. I am live and die by relationships, and our classified staff are names that constantly come up when kids are talking about the safe people in their lives. And so our special education staff, our bilingual IAs, our custodians, our cafeteria, how they continue to show up for our kids, and even when it's hard, even when it's really hard, and continuing to show up. And then just one of our eyes came to Allison and I at the end of the day today, just kind of, it's kind of that like sharing appreciation for being appreciated, I guess. But one of the things he said is, and he works in our special education classroom, and I think it's hard to realize the impact that we have, that all of us have. And he just made a comment that he got a note from a student, and he didn't realize the impact that he had been having in the words that they were saying to him, and him just saying hi in the hallway and what that means. And so I think for all of us to realize the impact we have, and I think especially for our classified staff who might not feel as appreciative as they should be. And so just really grateful, because I think, as everyone's saying, our schools would not run without them. So yeah, thank you.
Any more, anything from the board?
Can you work with me? So I have 2.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, we have our person from the association who wanted to give an update as well. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Linnea Ponce Morales. I'm representing the Phoenix Talent Education Association. And I just want to share a couple positives. Rosario, our vice president, and Laura, our president, have been preparing a presentation for an upcoming NEA Leadership Summit on how to support BIPOC educators in rural unions using the model that we have in our union. Since stepping into leadership roles with our union, they have worked intentionally to increase BIPOC representation. And we're very proud to share that our executive council now includes BIPOC members, and half of our bargaining team identifies as BIPOC educators. This progress is the result of thoughtful planning and organizing, and we remain committed to ensuring diverse voices are included in all aspects of our union work. Additionally, the OEA Representative Assembly is approaching, and PTEA recently held elections for members to vote on their representatives. We saw a record number of nominations for these leadership positions, reflecting strong engagement from our members. This is a pivotal year as representatives will be voting on the next leaders for OEA, the Oregon Education Association. Our association is eager to bring the perspectives of rural educators to the broader OEA body and advocate for the needs of our community at the state level.
Thank you. Gosh, that's a hard thing to follow.
Yeah.
I was like, now I have three, because I do want to say that I have seen tremendous growth in our association. And Laura is one of those leaders that are working hard to, I don't know if you know, but she's running for vice president, I think, on April 19th. I know it's that, so I know she's been spending a lot of her time so she can help represent smaller regions, so I appreciate that. My other two are, I went to the assembly at Tell Elementary. It was great, it was amazing. At one point, I look over to the side and Miss Lowe is on the ground mostly, and all these kids are around her, and it just made my heart full seeing a principal like sitting on the ground in assembly and all these kids are around her, and that's what it should be, right? The kids should be centered. And so I just wanted to give a shout out, and I know all the principals really like are student centered, and it just makes me very proud. The last one is, I don't know if you had seen on social media, which I usually stay away from, but not always, the Phoenix Police Department had a great thing about their relationship with their school, and I so much appreciate them and the community having such a great relationship and being proud of our schools. And it was just a sweet little Facebook post, but I really appreciate it, and I really thank everybody in this room, because it's the partnership we have is because each person really cares about kids in the community. So thank you so much.
Good.
I am done.
Anybody else?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm not gonna share all the details, but I was able to travel with the DECA team to go to Portland. And for many reasons, I'm grateful is that we have an amazing group of individuals that competed in that event. And I spent time in the front row yelling my brains out every time someone in the 1,400 people that were competing is on the freaking stage, especially like even in the first position, which just like makes my heart sing. And I've been hanging out with this group since 2011, and I'm really proud of that program and what they're doing there. So anyway, that was a real privilege of mine to see that.
I just want to say, on my way into the meeting tonight, that the slideshow on the common screen, which is probably showing on multiple screens, but I just was loving the messaging on there. Take your earbuds out. And so just creating that culture of engaging with your peers. And then I also love, I guess on the flip side, scan here to pick the music for the minute, right? But you have your earbuds in, so you're listening to it maybe communally with all of your friends. And I know you talked about that there's a subscription for music, right, for the school that, which I think is great too. And then book club was happening, and I was like, how do I join book club at the high school, right? And so just really all of the great things, just in my little walk up to the library, just really appreciating the creating an awareness of creating relationships and doing those things. So kudos to you guys.
Anything more?
I do a question. The basketball game is Saturday, what time?
Oh, the student reps are
3
gonna
p.m.
tell us. The student
Right,
reps.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Okay.
Yeah. Are you announcing? No. You keeping score?
No, but I'll be there.
Okay. I'll be there. I think just on behalf of the board, we want to thank our classified staff on Classified Appreciation Week. I know for me, dropping off Nora in the morning, I look forward to seeing whoever's there to greet the kids, and they do such a great job, and it makes me feel good about dropping my kid off at school every day. It's a great start to the day, and Nora may or may not respond, but always have something nice to say as she's walking through the gate. So that's all what kind of mood she's in that moment. But we know that we could not do this work without our classified staff, and we greatly appreciate you. So thank you. Well, thank you.
All right, student representative report, welcome.
Thank you. You want to, we'll go this way?
Okay. Hi, my name's Rachel. For the Accentuate the Positive today, I'm gonna be talking about the basketball games because both of our girls and boys varsity teams made it to state. Yeah, big props to them. Tomorrow we're taking a route bus, of some of the leadership kids and some other students that wanted to come along. And we're gonna be riding up to Newport, I think. No, Staten. Sorry, Staten.
Wow.
We'll be playing Newport. And no, that's boys. Sorry. Okay, we're going to the game and
You thought you were going to the coast, huh?
I thought. But yeah, so that's gonna be tomorrow and I'm one of the people going and I went and got some fun blue out stuff for our game, which is gonna be super cool to have the students there to cheer on our girls. And then the day after, Saturday, the boys are gonna be playing their state game. And it's the first time in 21 years that they've made it to a state game, so, yeah,
Conference champs.
conference champs.
Yeah, first time.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, it's the first time they're the conference champs in 21 years.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eden, and I was gonna talk about leadership, and mostly Skylar has been really working to recognize all of our amazing groups that have been just placing and everything, going to state, like DECA, which Javi will talk about. We have a skier who placed in state. We have someone in equestrian who at least went, I'm not sure if they placed. Wrestling went to state, basketball is going, of course. Swim, we won some things in state, I think fourth. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure as the plan is to do an assembly to recognize next Friday, we're gonna do a big assembly to recognize everyone in front of the whole school, but we've been doing these recognizations during the breakfast, and we're playing a few games with different groups, like basketball, we'll be doing a game tomorrow, just to help bring up the hype and the spirit. And also know we're working on planning our talent show. It's still, details are in the works still. Same with our staff versus student basketball game. All of it's going to Sparrow, all the proceeds. And so everything like that is in the works and just coming. Yeah, lots of fun things.
Good evening, board. I want to start off by saying and shadowing off of what Ms. Cross said, that there's a lot of spirit going on in Phoenix High School right now. From my point of view, a lot of us have been talking about how it's been a really amazing time to be a Pirate and how a lot of things are going great and we want to just keep momentum and keep building off of it. And just in every aspect, how we've just improved and just also like the leadership that has been going into every team. A lot of leadership has been going in just from like seniors or upperclassmen, just encouraging and helping the underclassmen and just helping the team grow as a whole. It's been great this year, just from my perspective. And I want to talk about DECA. I know you guys have heard of it a little bit, but just more in depth. Overall, we have 6 people that went to the state conference and are going to qualify for the ICDC, which is the international conference in Orlando this year. So, it's 6 people overall through a couple different events, but the people that are gonna go is Sam LaCroix, myself, Shane Gordon, Seneca Eichmark was here with us today, and then Judas Castile and Bentley Becker. So between us 6, we are like placing and going to go to Orlando, but a lot of people have also been in the top 20% or top 20 people in the events as a whole, which means that we have a lot of people that are going to be up and coming and just like are growing and getting better as we go on. And a lot of people place for what's called mini awards, which is you have 3 basically little categories that go into the overall. A lot of people were placing in those 2, which is just showing how everyone's doing better. I also want to talk about how theater put on a show recently called Inspector Calls. I went and saw it personally. I think they did great. They spent a lot of time working on it. Just want to give them a shout out. And the last thing I want to talk about is how spring sports are rolling in. So the transition from winter is slowly happening to spring sports. And pretty excited to see how that goes in our years. So thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna talk about senior stuff, because that's what I have, but, big things were that this Monday OSAC closed, and so did the Ford Scholarship. And the FPC was really instrumental in helping all of the seniors get that stuff done. Because especially at the Ford, you wanna make sure that submission is really solid before it's turned down, because it's a really big scholarship. And then, for FAFSA, we're having like a huge number of people apply for FAFSA. We surpassed the amount of people who applied for the last 3 years already. So, and then we're close to hitting the all-time record, which is 115, and that was done in 2017. And right now we're around 100 people who've applied for FAFSA. Last year, 84 people applied. So I feel like that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, great. Great.
And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for our students? Great reports. Thank you all very much. Next, we have citizens' comments. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak before the board today? Is there anyone online who would like to speak before the board?
People online are either Nancy or Joe.
Okay. So. Great. All right, moving along, superintendent report, Mr. Barry.
Thank you, Chair Campbell. I just want to echo all the appreciation of our classified staff, a tremendous team, and just so appreciative of what they do all year round, and we get to celebrate them this week. As you know, the board's gift was a movie night kit, which I think went over really well. I want to thank Denise and the team and Tiffany Britton and the whole district office staff. It was a little more legwork putting together the gifts this year, and so really appreciate them. And also our licensed staff who just make our classified staff. We have our board that shares their gifts on one day, but then it's just all week long. Licensed staff just and our administrators have lunches and you name it. So thank you for that. I want to share a little bit, mentioned before that there was a potential hearing for ADM security next Wednesday, March 12th. That has been canceled for now, but I'll let you know and keep you guys updated on how we can support or give feedback on the importance of that funding. And we'll keep you updated as we go. Want to also mention that I mentioned this before, but our integrated guidance planning is in full swing, getting information. We do have a meeting next Tuesday at 4 p.m. We'd love a board representative to be a part of that team. I think Don did it last time. I'm not sure if we had 2 board members or not, but it's the old SIA planning. So it's the integrated guidance planning where it incorporates all the different funding sources and we respond to the surveys on how we want to utilize those funds. So if you're interested, I'll have Denise send out an email tomorrow as well to be at the initial meeting, which will kind of set the landscape and the process at 4 o'clock on Tuesday. And then finally in your packets, Outdoor Discovery Program is going to do an out-of-state trip, Shasta Caverns in Lakehead, California on April 25th, just so you guys know that for insurance purposes. So that's all I have.
Thank you so much. No questions?
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
So I'm like on a roll. Well, one's not a question, it's a statement. The SIA or whatever guidance,
Yeah.
I would highly recommend that someone do it because I learned so much from that. And it really helped me advocate, and it was amazing to be on that board to listen to everything that I learned. Second is a question for you, Brett. Does that mean that there was a group gonna go up on March 12th, and is that group no longer going, or?
Yeah, there's not a public hearing, so we're postponing that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yep. Okay, thank you so much. Next item is a consent agenda, and I'd actually like to make the motion today because I have a small proposed revision to the agenda. So I would like to move approval of the consent agenda with the edit of moving item J4 and action items to the first action item for the evening.
Can you tell us what J4 is?
J4 is interviewing our budget committee applicant.
Oh,
I'd like to move it up.
yes.
So do a vote?
We'll have to vote instead of, yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
vote instead of do a consensus.
I second that.
Thank you. So any discussion? I just wanted to, I see that you're here for the whole meeting, so thank you for, I just wanted to move that up in case you had to go, we can do it sooner. So, all right, we will vote. Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Rick, Polly,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
I vote yes.
Nancy.
Oh, Nancy.
Yes. Yes.
I went out of order. Thank you. Okay, all right, the consent agenda is approved. Information and discussion, legislative OSBA update.
Okay. I'm gonna start off and then anyone can help, shoot. I had it all written in my notes and now I can't. Okay, so first of all, March 11th is OSBA/COSA Advocacy Equity Color Caucus. I'm not really sure what the day is, but I know the Color Caucus members are going to advocate, and then I think it's the equity team of COSA, I'm not sure, but there will be a bunch of people advocating for schools on March 11th. I believe at the end of April is when OSBA is also going to do another one, maybe Sarah, I think it's April 24th. Okay, April 24th. And so maybe keep that on your calendar, right? We're gonna start promoting that soon, and it might be nice to have a whole bunch of people from our district and our region to be up at the Capitol. Sarah and I are going at the end of March because we weren't able to go. And my goal this year is to go like once a month. I don't know why I made that goal, but I'm there and I'm sticking to it. Sunday, Kristen Miles, or Dr. Kristen Miles, is coming down and having a presentation at the Medford Library about what it means to be a school board member and just answer public's questions, because a lot of times it's assumed what we do, but not really what we do. And so to clear that out and also help people that are, if you want to run, learn more information, but voting too, just to kind of know what kind of questions you should be asking and that kind of stuff, just to give more knowledge.
What time is that again?
3 to 5 on Sunday, March 9th. I will be there.
And that's like sponsored by the League of Women Voters.
It is sponsored by the League of Women Voters and OSBA. It's a co-sponsor. If you want a little, so League of Women Voters called me up and they said, we're thinking about doing something. Can you help out? And so I called OSBA, and OSBA said, yes, we'd love to be in partnership with them. And therefore I got in the middle, but I'm gonna help Kristen, and it will be great. And I would really appreciated the League of Women Voters wanting to get the school board perspective, because there is some town halls that don't have as much school board perspective, and I really appreciate them reaching out. And they reached out to me because I'm on the OSBA executive committee. Then there's some the hearings coming up, and I have them. There's some hearings and workshops for the education, both House and Senate, that were, I thought, pretty interesting, that you might want to keep an eye on. For the Senate, let's see where I did for the Senate. The interesting ones were on the 12th, and there was one on requires Department of Education setting methods for increasing accountability to public education system of the state. So that's a Senate bill, which is like, we're having a lot of talks about accountability, so it will be interesting. When I looked at it today, there was no testimony, but just a reminder, if these bills sound interesting to you, you can always testify. I think 48 hours, you can always write your written testimony 48 hours after it's been. So sometimes I like to read people's testimony and then pick out the things I liked and add. So I think that's great. Also, authorizing an education service district, which is ESD, to determine whether a school board has violated a requirement regarding actual conflicts of interest. And I find that interesting and kind of muddying the water, so I'm kind of interested to see what the pros and cons of this bill will be, because I see some potentials, but there's a link, you can always go to OLS and see what's coming up. I think the House had some interesting things too. They had something on interdisciplinary. Then they had modifies the percentage of amount a school district must pay for state school fund to public charters, which might be an interesting topic, but there's a lot of interesting things and interesting workshops. There, pretty soon bills are gonna, you can't add any more bills, and then the ones that haven't gone into the committees will just stop, they will no longer be, so it's a really busy time right now. And really interesting, if you're bored, there's some really great work sessions that are 3 hours long you can listen to when you're doing your chores. Did I miss anything, Sarah or Brent or anybody else?
I'll just highlight the accountability that we're talking about. I think it's House Bill 2009. They're also doing a Senate track on the same bill.
Yeah.
Which I think is 219.
I just had it up.
But we have had conversations with our COSA, Parasa from COSA will be giving testimony, and we have some concerns on what's in there. And we'll highlight what we think is kind of moving in the right direction, but we're really concerned about prescriptive spending from the state. And so that'll be a conversation that we have, not shying away from accountability, but making sure that we have an Oregon Department of Education that can actually have the capacity and the knowledge and the expertise to help implement any system of accountability we have.
And the Senate bill is Senate Bill 141.
Okay.
And that is March 12th at 8 a.m.
Okay.
In case you want to know. Sarah, did you want to add anything?
I only just wanted to say that the House and Senate joint committee meeting that was last week, that in the evening, with the independent report to really look at the structure of Oregon's education, financing, and comparatively to other states as well, that this was something that came out of the last legislative session, the governor really looking at how education funding happens. And it's dense, but it's also really informative to look at. And the bottom line is, what we have known is that Oregon's really been underfunding its schools. And so it was really great to hear that from an independent hired out survey. And one highlight that came out that OSBA highlighted was PERS costs are not rolled into school district responsibilities in other states. And so when you start to look comparatively, and when you're looking at how much Oregon funds per student, and you start to really dive into the details and look at that. So really some great information coming out of those meetings, in addition to the cap on special education funding that doesn't happen in other states. And we've seen, of course, the increase in special education funding needs. So really interesting things, like Don said, happening this session, a lot to pay attention to if you're bored or doing the dishes and want to listen.
Thank you both. Any questions? Okay, committee updates. Start with.
Yeah, I think you have a facility update in your, so.
Don't see it on the board.
Hang on just a second.
You will have a facility update. I also, it's just about the projects we have coming online, and then we will, again, I think I shared this, we're reviewing the secure check, Ernie Whiteman's report. And we're hoping to give a more detailed kind of response to how we're gonna respond to that at the work session, so. That's all we have.
Do you see it now?
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And Rebecca was at the Safe Schools meeting yesterday?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
yours.
so we had a safety interagency meeting yesterday at the district office. A lot of it was positive. There's a lot of areas of the school where they're gonna be adding or adjusting cameras. Safety feature updates are gonna be happening at ODP and at the crosswalk on Christian Avenue by the middle school over the spring break. I know, they're exciting.
Yeah.
It is.
There was lots of shout outs to the I Love You Guys program and to Cynthia Perez. No, I'm not familiar with her, but there was a ton of shout outs to her, so I just wanted to say it publicly at the meeting to thank Cynthia Perez. There's decals on the windows of the lower level of the high school now, thanks to Sergeant Hull. He kind of led the forefront on that. And then, just how staff and community members and our community partners are keeping our students at the forefront of safety and online as well as in person. And thanks to everybody who attended that meeting.
Thank you. Cynthia is our consultant that works with our restorative practices and our conversations, and so she's been a great partner. She was with us several years ago, and she's now started her own consulting business, and it's really been nice to have her back to help us through that process.
Thank you very much. Do we have a DEI committee update as well?
Kelly is out of town. I don't know if Nancy had something. They have a meeting on Monday, so I'm not sure if they have any other updates.
I don't have any updates at this time, but yes, there is a meeting next Monday. We're just, or maybe I said I don't have any updates, and then here I am sharing some more. We're still reading. We're reading through this book, and the discussions have continued to be really rich. And yeah, looking at the standards, at the different grade level standards, and processing them, thinking through them through an equity lens has been really helpful too. And I think it has given people an opportunity to think about, holy moly, teachers have a lot to cover. So just a good reminder for folks that might not be in education as directly connected, just like the complexity and the depth of all the things that must be in process for like just an everyday thing, an everyday classroom to kind of function and cover and think about how we can best support students. So lots of good work. There's been a lot of good positive engagement from the folks that are participating. So that has been really, really helpful and encouraging.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna give us 5 minutes recess and we'll come back and do action items since we're going bell to bell here. Welcome back, everybody. First item of action items now is to interview our budget committee applicant. We have one, his name is Mark Kraus. Mark, thanks for joining us. So if you would just like to, you could actually come and sit here if you'd like, because we've got a microphone there that'll wake you up. And just introduce yourself, and the board may or may not have questions. We're frankly thankful to have someone apply for the position, so thank you for that.
Yeah, well, nice to be here, and yeah, thanks for the opportunity to meet you a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I'm Mark Kraus, and I'm parent of a couple of kids in this school district. My daughter is at Talent Elementary, my son is at Talent Middle School. I'm fully steeped in education. I'm faculty at SOU. And so throughout my career, through research and teaching positions, I've always been very much centered in education. And I've been I've been involved in the PTA at Talent Elementary since my son started kindergarten. So it's 6 years now, going to 7th year. And yeah, so always involved there for the last few years, serving as president, as Heather mentioned. And so once my son went across the street to the hard scrabble world of middle school, I saw, there's a little world outside of this little bubble in this sweet little elementary school. And I felt, the desire to get more involved in the school. And PTA is, I love it because it's all about just the students and the families, full stop. You're there for that. And that's great. And I want to keep involved in that, but I also kind of want to, work my way out into the community a little bit more. and get involved in this capacity. So I'm not a CPA, and I'm sure no one's gonna give me the combination to the safe, is budget committee. And I would imagine if I end up serving on it, someone will tell me what I need to do. And I feel like given what my past experiences in working with, with boards and organizations that, I can learn it and hopefully be helpful to the organization and to the school board.
Awesome.
So
Thank you so much. Any questions for
Yeah,
Mark?
question, what do you teach?
I'm in the psychology department. I teach classes in pharmacology, neuroscience, and learning and memory.
Ooh. And how long have you been there?
I started SOE in 2007.
Okay.
Wow.
So the phone screens are killing our brains, aren't they?
On topic.
Probably have a PowerPoint somewhere.
This is the sign that the board thinks you're more than qualified. We're delving into other things.
Lifelong learners, right? Lifelong learners, isn't that our goal? All right, but yes, go.
Any other questions relative to Mark's qualifications for the budget committee?
No, I just have a comment. I just really appreciate you, giving your time to the PTA. I know that takes a lot of time as a former PTA mom, but I was never PTA president. And moving forward, I think it's really important, and I'm glad that you are, wanting to enhance your giving back to the community. And I'm glad that you chose us, because there's many other places you could have chose, and I'm glad that you chose our district, so thank you.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Do we have a motion? So for clarity, this is to finish the term, or is
Nope,
this
it's a
No, it's a
three-year
three-year
finish.
term.
3-year term? Oh, but technically retroactive to last, because this says ending in 2027.
So it's this year,
5,
24,
6, 7.
25. So on the budget committee this
Okay.
year, 25, 26, 26, 27. So that's. the
Just so
3-year.
we're clear on what you're signing up for. Okay. Sure. Good, I'll be here. All right, do we have a motion? Thank you, Rebecca.
I move to appoint Mark Cross to serve on the budget committee for a 3-year term ending in 2025.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dawn. Discussion?
No, just thank you for stepping up to a district level. That's what we love to see, getting involved in the school and then, what else is happening in the district? So really appreciate your willingness to serve in that capacity.
Sure, my pleasure.
Here. All right, we will vote. I'm gonna start with Nancy.
Absolutely, yes, thank you so much.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Polly, Dawn.
Yes.
I vote yes. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Mark.
right.
Yes, thank you.
Denise will be in touch on details, and also if, I'm sure he could come in and meet with
Absolutely,
you or Yasmin, or, we can get
For
you
sure, we'll
up to
reach out.
speed on all things budgeting ahead of time too, so, yeah. All right, next is academic calendar 25-26.
Yeah, there's a couple corrections from last time and then one adjustment that we talked about. On October 13th and April 10th, in the notes, it said those were half-day in services. Those are actually full, they're gonna be full-day in services as they are now. So those are end of first quarter and second quarter or third quarter. So those are full days. And then I did not take out a notation in there that I presented last time. So that's a correction. And an adjustment was June 5th. Talking with our team, and at the suggestion is we decided with some shifting of how we're going to support seniors at the end. We're gonna have that a full day for all schools. It might look a little different at the high school, but for the most part, it's gonna be a full day to maximize that time as well at the end of the year. So that's the only adjustment, and it's for your review and approval today.
Any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
How many, just because we've had it, there's enough room for 2 snow days built into this calendar?
So this calendar, as far as instructional hours, once we get our schedules for next year, in case our bell schedules change, we'll see how much that is.
Oh,
But
okay.
we should have a little bit more in this than we did this year in high schools. But we could have up to over 2, almost 3.
Okay.
So to be actual legal instructional hours.
Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the 25-26 academic calendar as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Rick. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Nancy,
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, item J2, teacher and administrative contract.
Yeah, this is the updated list as of 2 p.m. today, so thank you to Jessica and her team for getting this done to have an accurate list for you guys to approve.
Thank you. And just a note, I'm gonna declare a conflict of interest since I have a spouse on this list, and I'm not going to participate in the discussion, and I'll only vote if necessary.
That would be the same for me as having a daughter here.
Okay.
I move to approve the teacher and administrative contracts as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Sarah. Discussion? We'll vote. Nancy?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Holly?
Abstain.
And I abstain. Okay, next is snow day makeup.
Yeah, similar to last time, just option 1 and option 2, nothing has changed. Option 1 adds the day Friday before Memorial Day, which was a non-contract day originally, for a full day for students and staff. And then the June 6th would be a full day, which was a minimum day. And that will get us legal on instructional hours for the high school. Option 2 is actually an option that extends us into the summer. And it essentially makes up most of the time that we lost during snow days.
I have one question that I
Yeah.
noticed on this one that I didn't notice last time.
Okay.
Which was the TMS 8th grade graduation is on 2 different dates depending on the calendar.
Yeah, because sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's typically the last day before it's on the night before the minimum day.
And so my only concern was if we move it, are there out of town families that have made plans? Like, I have parents that came from Michigan for mine and plans had already been kind of made around that. So I'm a little nervous, as much as I want every instructional minute to change days for that.
Option 1 is or is not a change to the.
Which one keeps it? the-
Option 1 would not change the middle school day. And yeah, I mean, that's a concern that we would have it is a middle school graduation, so it was on a Monday rather than Saturday, but there would be concerns for that. So option 1 is the least impacted with the schedule that gets us legal, but does not make up all the time.
I was kind of leaning more towards option 1 myself.
Is, what day? So it's a Monday, Wednesday, and I think typically it has been on a Wednesday. Do you know the TMS middle school recognition?
It's the night before the last minimum day of the year. So it varies.
Oh, it varies.
yeah.
It varies. On which of these calendars is it the same that it was before?
Option 1.
Option 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Option 1 ends us the same exact date
Okay,
that we had the original time.
I'm sorry, I know you guys have said that 3 times correctly, but I did
No.
finally hear it correctly the 3rd time, so appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, would anyone like to make a motion?
I was just gonna discuss that originally I wanted option two because it was more time and I am a more time person, such as Sarah mentioned, but I do recognize that change for students and staff and family, and the least, I don't know, one that's not so much change is one, and so that would probably be a wiser choice to disrupt people less.
I also originally thought option two, but after speaking with the student representatives at the last meeting and hearing what their opinions were, even the students that aren't even gonna be here next year, hearing their opinions on which option we should pick, and then also thinking as a parent of students in the district, I think that option one is more viable.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the revised 24-25 academic calendar as presented in option one.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Sarah. Any further discussion on this option? I would agree. I mean, I think if the changes were to give us more instructional time within the calendar that wasn't just tacked on at the end, I agree, but I want as much time as possible. I just don't know that that time of year is a quality time of year to get. It would be perfunctory, I think. So I'm supportive of option one as well. And I think also, I think we're hopefully in the clear, but it is still technically winter. Yeah, you never know. This is wood, I am knocking on it. So, yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, we will vote. Nancy?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Holly?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
I vote yes. Option one is approved.
We will get that out to families and share that right away. Make sure people understand. The biggest impact will be that Friday before Memorial Day weekend, so we'll get that out right away.
Yes.
And do you think that impact will be more felt by staff or students?
Well, it's, I don't know, probably both. So it'll just be, yeah.
Okay, next agenda item is review of next meeting's agenda. Did you want to talk about anything?
Yeah, just 3 items really, the board self-evaluation that you guys know. The EDI, Equity and Community Care, Kelly will give her annual report. It'll be just more of an update. I think we shared some of that disaggregated data with the board in my last quarterly review. But we'll design something that kind of shares that so and have some feedback. Then I want to really do a facility update on the latest on Culver and the phasing and the costs and how that's coming along. We're meeting with Boys and Girls Club next week, so it's timely to kind of share some things with the board.
Question, would the facilities update give us a tiny update on that piece of property around Bear Creek? I don't know the name of it, but I don't know if there's anything to update on there, but if there is, it might be nice.
Sounds good.
And Denise, could you do me a favor on item 3? Could you add a slash that talks about skipped levels for evaluation? That was a request of Sarah's that we talk about skip level meetings as part of the evaluation process.
I'm confused. Add where? I'm sorry.
On the March 20th work agenda.
Yeah.
Could you just, you could do a couple things. You could do, you could just add it as a separate item or just put a marker to discuss skip level.
So I was just gonna talk about that for a second, so.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna ask to add this to the next meeting agenda. It's called a targeted feedback survey. And it's something that OSBA contracts as part of their superintendent evaluation. And so I got a quote from Kristen and I'll send it to Denise so that it can be included in the board packet information. And just take some time to maybe look at that, maybe adding that process to the evaluation.
So, and if you haven't done your board self-evaluation, this is
Oh,
your
yes.
plug
Yes.
to finish that.
Thank you.
By
Not due till the 12th.
Yeah, the 12th. The 12th, Polly, the
In
12th.
the AM.
Who's done?
Oh, the chair and the vice chair.
I can't say much.
A lot of free time. Not true. Not true.
Thank you all.